Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Untitled Arena State of the Game stream. I will be your host, as always, M. Paul Weeks, and this is the August 2026 edition. We're going to talk all about the state of the game for Tough Love Arena and my upcoming game, Scramble Hard City. So, if you weren't on the Discord in the past couple of days, you may not have seen the big news, but arcade mode is released. We launched it, I think it was Saturday afternoon. Vast majority of the credit goes to community member Clove. Dab and Kerbo also helped out. Also, thank you to Meep and Shiggy for doing a lot of playtesting. And I just, pushed the submit button. But I'm very proud of the work that they've all done. Happy to have it in the game. And this means we are now ready to prep for the long fabled and I thought potentially unreachable 1.00. So stay tuned for news about that. Upcoming events, we are going to do our online major. We'd actually originally picked out a date in earlier August, and then I forgot to announce it last month. So we're announcing it now, and it's going to be on August 21st. The challenge link is up. I will put it in the Discord. So usual thing, we'll give out a bunch of free skins for participating and for winning. The highest placing person without a premium account gets a premium account. The summer tournament will, as per usual, preempt Tough Love Gauntlet and run on Shiggy's stream. I'll be joining on comms. So check it out. Next up, Scramble Heart updates. So we are prepping for a Steam playtest. The game has been playable on Steam for a couple months now, but there are enough issues that pop up that I don't think it is user ready when we already have a browser version that works. Specifically, the most recent round of testing, and thank you to Meep and Alisa for confirming this, they reported seeing worse performance on Steam than browser. And so if I know that the Steam version is currently running worse, why would I put that out and risk giving someone a worse first impression of the game? So we're going to iron that out. I have some ideas about the underlying issue. It's only in a very specific situation with like VRAM loading and unloading. So hopefully that will be out for the next month. We shall see. And speaking of the next month, that playtest will be on September 18th. I was trying to keep it on the earlier side of the month, but September 4th, I will be in Seattle for PAX West. If you are going to PAX West, please let me know. I'm thinking about organizing like a little Tough Love Scramble meetup, give out some free merch. And then the following weekend, I am taking a personal trip, visiting some friends out in the West Coast while I'm there, because it is such a schlep. So next playtest will be September 18th, and in the meantime, our two offline events are CEO in a couple of days. I'm flying out in 12 hours. Yes, I'm getting on a plane in less than 24 hours to go to CEO, and then hopefully see some of you at PAX West. And that's it. We can move on to the Q&A. There's a question. How much arcade mode do you know? I know the entire arcade mode. I have place tested every route and gave some very minor writing notes. I was just continuously surprised and charmed by some of the animation things and like expressions that Clem was able to pull off with the existing sprites, and also surprised with some of the characterization that she chose to do, along with Dab and Kerbo, who also contributed to arcade modes, both building blocks and story content. Is there a boss character you would actually play if they were normalized in TLA? I don't know much about the boss characters, the new ones. I fought against them, but I haven't played as them yet. Of the original three, from what I remember, I would probably play Cryptic, Carb, so Boss Rice. I have a soft spot for Boss Garlic, Secret Spice, and their dumb full screen invulnerable teleport kick. I thought I was cooking with that one. I think I have tried to play with Secret Spice on a number of occasions, and I think the issue is that they just do like no damage compared to normal spices. Like it didn't feel like an advantage. The Zard asks, how fun was designing Edge? What did you mainly aim for? Not sure if... Yeah, it's all mixed in together, Tough Love and Scramble Heart. Edge was a lot of fun. The thing that I wanted to capture, because this is a good question. I get asked this question sometimes from aspiring game developers that I see at conventions. Like, where do you get your ideas? How do you come up with stuff? And to me, the creative process usually begins with a very broad goal, and then I find the character as we try to narrow. in a collaborative process with Savvy and sometimes other team members as well. The big picture goal was I want to add another rushdown character to the roster, where I would consider right now the rushdown characters to be Rosie and Gain, and probably Alistair now, the way that he has sort of turned out as opposed to my original vision. When I think of more like traditional rushdown of this is a character that can just like run and has a really good box dash, Alistair has pressure, but it's like, kind of unique to the Rekkas. To me, Rosie and Gain are the rushdown characters, and I wanted to add a third one. But as part of that, and in order to make them feel different, I decided that I wanted to give them strong movement, but non-traditional movement. Because Rosie and Gain already probably have as good of like a run and a box jump that I want to push. Turns out, Edge's instant air dash, if you instant air dash light with Edge compared to Rosie, I think it hits like 9 frames earlier. It is insanely fast. It is a 17 frame overhead. That was an oversight that will be fixed for CEO. But in general, he's got some more awkward air movement with the jump B. He's got a step dash instead of a run. And a big thing that I know at least one person pointed out is that he doesn't auto advance on his normals like Rosie and Gain do, in a way that really just makes their combos work. Lots of cases where players, including myself, accidentally whiffed Gain's launcher. Because although he's got these sword normals, like he doesn't close the gap naturally. That was my idea. Let's make a rushdown character so that the rushdown players can have like a full team of just go forward. But let's make him a little bit more technical and provide more opportunities for skill expression in how you move and how you approach beyond just like technical wave dashing. Because I really am conscious, especially with such a small cast, and for a game where the characters are really trying to be unique as opposed to some other versus games, I really want them to all feel different to pilot. And I think we were successful at that. The sort of follow-up thread to that was, okay, I want him to feel really fast. I want him to feel really fast, even though he's not actually going to necessarily like move or rush down faster than the other characters. His run is quick, but this is where we came up with the idea of his, I guess what we're now calling like the flow buttons, which is when you do run and you can start mash, and he basically has like an alternate 5B, 2B, 5C, 2C while he's in that state. That used to not be part of run. That used to be like the second track Magic series that you would transition to directly from your main Magic series. Like you're doing ABC, but anytime you hit with one of these B or C's buttons, if you then repeat it forward, so if you do like 5B, 6B, then he would go into the chain. That did feel fun, but it, I think, unnecessarily limited the cancel options. And it meant that like it gave so little room for improvisation or choice, because it was like, well, I just need to get into this button if I want to get into that version of the run attack. And we decided to instead go for run and then eventually backflip and all sorts of these other ways to enter the flow state. It also originally cost a resource. If you saw an earlier stream, he had like a green stamina bar, and we experimented with that for a little while because we wanted to make it feel really powerful. And one way to make a mechanic really powerful and feel one way to make a mechanic feel powerful is if it is powerful. And a way that you can put a very powerful mechanic is if it is gated by a resource, right? But I think that detracted from the gameplay, because then it just made doing those attacks way less appealing, because it was like I should save my stamina for when I can like hit confirm to the other things. And that might be appealing to like a higher skill player, but the goal was for people to have fun doing rapid slashes. And like my goal for like the level 0 player, what's the initial power fantasy for Edge? What's immediately fun about him? Doing this. He used to have so much more corner carry. But like this, originally you also had to like alternate. We iterated on it a lot, and there might still be more changes later. But that felt fun. And that to me like helps sell the fantasy of, oh, this guy goes fast, without having to actually like make him move so fast that like you can't react to him. So we are trying to make him fast in very specific contexts, and I think that's a way that we can make it fair and interactive for the opponent. We've gone back and forth on a few things, but I would say we have achieved my initial goal, which is a rushdown character that feels different than the other two rushdown characters. And I'm enjoying them so far. As soon as I patch out that freaking jump light, because yeah, that would explain why I couldn't even 2C it, especially not on reaction, because you can't react to that fast enough. And yeah, it's very feasible that when I was playing my sets against other players, that they were truly meeting me with that jump light. I was normally he shouldn't be able to recover that fast after the Izuna drop, but anyways. I'm very proud of the state he was in for his first playtest, compared to the shit show that was way too much damage on Khieu, and the shit show of this character seems non-functional with Tyrant. I think he had a good showing. We'll see when we get to the survey, but I feel encouraged by the fact that I think we're getting better at this. Joro says some nice words about Edge, and then says, I'm really surprised you didn't go for another zoner. Character 9 and maybe character 10 are zoners. And so that was also part of it, was we're usually only thinking about 1 to 3 characters ahead. If anyone saw that 4x2 image that I pasted, that I very quickly ended up contradicting, I had broad goals in mind, and we've hit a lot of the big obvious, your game has to have X. And now, as I continue to play the game and watch people play the game, I'm trying to be more flexible and just responding to oh, what's missing? What's missing now? And we've had a few ideas in the queue. One of them is items, that's not a secret, who's going to be a random item character. And I think she's going to probably fall in the mid-range leaning zoning area. She's not going to be a rushdown character. She might be book tier in terms of screen control, right? And then another character in my mind who is a more traditional zoner, whereas Fugue is all about putting stuff on screen and these slower moving projectiles and having persistent hitboxes. I want to put in a character that's just basically laser, unibeam, unibeam, unibeam. I don't think I've talked about them too much. So we were looking at, who should we do for number 8? Should it be Edge, items, or laser? And I was I think it would be better for the game, which is, a vague, vibesy statement. It's the classic, Capcom doesn't want Zangief to be top tier. What does that even mean? The goal is to have player retention, and I think Edge contributes to the texture of the game for both sides of the aisle in a more net positive, fun way than a pure zoner would. So we did Edge first. We'll get there. Don't you worry, Joro. IP address says, Paul hitting the meter cost 1000 modder technique? What does that mean? I'm not familiar with that technique. Or are you talking about just balancing around insane resource cost? Because, yeah, that makes sense. Zard said, yeah, instant air got me a light, but I love learning about these design aspects and glad you went in depth about it. You're very welcome. Yeah, I love talking about it. Thought says you nailed them. Thank you. IP address says, I could make a synthetic spice breakdown video. I love him. I would happily watch that. Keyboard Noah says, Paul, I have not studied for CEO. Am I cooked? I wouldn't say you're cooked. I would say just make sure you get in a half hour at the booth to make sure you have B&Bs. But there hasn't been any extreme system changes in a while, and I don't think there's anything that's super, I hope there's nothing that's super knowledge checky. And you are an experienced player, and I think you could easily get top 4 on just fundies, pressure, safe jump, ABC Magic Series, dump bar, kill the opponent. That is my goal for the game. So just make sure you have your fundies down and a reliable combo for each character, and I think you can discover that during a match. You'll be fine. We'll probably seed you pretty high, honestly. Noah says, please, Paul, I need a beam assist too. You have a beam assist too. It is Harmony's... Blah. Why am I blanking on the name? The code name is Floor is Lava. The garden that turns into spears. Tread lightly, thank you. That's your second beam assist. It's slightly more telegraphed, but it is also a full screen horizontal hitbox that you can confirm off of. In fact, it OTGs, so it's kind of better than beam assist. Meme says, number 10 was mentioned a tiny bit in the Pat interview. Oh, okay, cool. I don't remember anything I said in that interview. The only thing I remember, I'm very grateful for it, and I put a lot of time into writing my answers, actually. He sent me the questions, and it took me like 3 weeks to get back to him, mostly because I was distracted with other stuff like Evo, or this might have been Combo Breaker? I can't remember the timing. Anyways, the only thing I remember so vividly from that interview, and it's an async interview, right? He just sends me an email with like 10 questions. And one of them is like, I noticed that your combos are really freeform. This must help you as a designer because this means you don't really need to design them. They just sort of work. Did you do this because you are a coward? Or lazy? Or are you lazy? I loved that question. I loved the framing of that question. I thought that was fun. That was fun. Honestly, no shade. Yeah, it was. Yeah. I'm butchering the framing. I think it was better written than that. But it was very well framed. You can read it for free on his Patreon. What did you miss in the last 5 minutes, Joro? We are having a TLA Summer Tournament. We just posted the challenge in the Discord. August 21st. We are 1 month late. It should have been in July. And also, if you missed it in the Discord, Arcade Mode released a couple days ago. We are prepping for 1.0. I'm going to try and take some of the stuff I learned working on the Steam port for Scramble Heart and reapply that to the Tough Love Arena port, because I learned some cool new stuff. Yes, IP address. Clarifying my earlier question, modders make overly busted moves and then give it meter cost and call it balanced. I mean, isn't that what a super move is? Oh, I have a move that's invulnerable and hits full screen and deals half your health? Meter is a reasonable downside to add to something. All I know is runaway call beam assist. That's not bad. Shiggy asked, did you talk about UTC2 TLA perchance? No, I did not. What would you like me to say about it? We are holding Under the Counter 2 X Cross Tough Love Arena bracket on August 13th, this Thursday, at 4 p.m. Eastern. Yeah, if the bracket's still open, DM it to me and I'll post it in the main server. Thoughtbuster says, be mean, Paul, but you are right, and neutral block. Gain Rush Punch. I forget what I was being mean about, so no, I will not be mean. It's more like Team Beam Assist. Be nice, that's harmony. Hand is good, but it's not beam assist. I would say my goal was to make Tread Lightly a beam assist. It used to more like beam out, although that's not, no, because a beam is, in the jargon, it used to be what I'd call like a Hawkeye triple arrow assist, because it like progressively went forward to backwards, and then we changed it to just being simultaneous. But yeah, full screen hitbox. It's a beam. It's a beam. You can jump it like a beam. It's a beam. When are we nerfing Rosie Banana? Joro, we've already nerfed Rosie Banana so far in terms of A, it used to be like unblockable after flash. B, it used to recover so quickly that she could loop it into itself. C, it used to hard knockdown. And D, it used to do way more damage. We have nerfed it on all 4 fronts. Sorry, it wouldn't have been post-flash unblockable, but it was like, I misspoke. It was not post-flash unblockable, but it had, wait, actually, let me think about this. Because I think the thing that surprised me is like she might have actually spawned the banana before the super freeze ended. I think you still would have been able to block it because the banana wouldn't have moved until the super freeze ended. But it might have been like frame 0. I think that might have been it. It just might have been like frame 0. You could block it, but it was frame 0. It was very fast. Yes, Rosie Banana is her air super. That's what I call it because of the placeholder animation of the air projectile. I was like, Savvy, just give me some sort of like wave. And Savvy gave me a big green arc, which we now lovingly call the banana. Thought says there's only 3 harmonies. One of them is lazy and improv too much. Rosie's banana. Noah says, Scramble Heart boss idea, Shin Rosie with her instant air dash down. Oh, her fast fall that she had for like 5 seconds. And frame 0 banana. I feel like it'd be enough just to like make banana faster, self-loopable, and taller. That would feel pretty bossy. Or just shoot 3 bananas. Oh yeah, I saw my thread about it closed. Oh, if it was from last month, like all that stuff gets auto-closed. I think we're just trying to make sure that people don't accidentally use the wrong months and post their bugs in the wrong channels. Because now we've just got like all these archived channels of all the previous ones. But they are, as an effect, like locked for discussion. So, were you able to take anything from the combo suggestions I had? I don't recall, because if you didn't check the combo trials this month, there were a lot more of them. They were all made by our newest team member, Meep, and I think they did a very good job. But Meep, if you are looking for ideas, feel free to look at Noah's post from last month. Zard says 2 fast bananas and 1 slow one. That's plus. Now you're thinking like a game designer. That's fair. It's fair if one is fast and one is plus, but it's slow. Imagine my idiocy when I was like designing the old Fugue jump charge 4D, the really slow ball. And I'm like, well, it's not good at zoning because it's slow. I just like had a mental lapse and forgot what Sonic Boom was and why it was good. And all I had to do was play against one person who did it and realize, like, oh, I can't walk forward. That seems like a problem. I know what I'm doing. I do a little bit miss the Air Banana meter dump, the Air Hyper Viper comparisons of just like, oh, you called assist? I'm going to jump and spend 5 bars to kill your assist. I don't think it was good for the game. I could see returning to it maybe if we like bring the damage even lower. But I thought that was neat. I started trying to do all the trials that Meep gave, and then I got stuck on... I don't know if this is the final version of the one that went into the game, because this was like a week beforehand. I got stuck on the Rosie one that was just like 4 instances of linking jump scene to jump B in a row, but it was like really height specific. Like I could do a basic loop of that link, but it was doing it at like different timings to get different heights, and I crashed out. Twitch chat. I couldn't do it, and I was doing this at the office, and I'd been like trying on keyboard, and then I take out my stick and I take it out of the box and I'm playing with my stick, which is really loud. Thankfully it was after hours, but I'm also realizing like I'm not being very considerate to the 3 people who are still here, and I'm like desperately trying to do this combo, and I'm starting to mash. I'm glad I wasn't on camera. And since then I haven't tried many of them. I'm not scared. Don't put it in the newspaper that I was scared. But also, I felt like I've had no time in the last, 3 weeks. I would love to revisit them. Honestly, probably, if we have downtime at the booth, I'll probably just play them. That'd be a lot of fun, actually. Noah asks, you know that one game design image where it's the guy over-explaining the spring below a vertical spike? No. DM it to me. No, she has not been able to solo Banana for a long time. Jump C, Jump B... Noah says, in the combo trials I'm making, I got demo functionality working, but it requires recording the combos manually. So I'm in for a super fun time. Yes, that's how we did it for this one. This one, I'm hoping, are relatively cheap to produce, and were great first to bring on someone like me who didn't even need access to the code base, to then just, sit down in training room, hit record, do a combo, hit finish. I think that is just like the best way to have the easy playback, and I think it's the best way to do like user-generated combos, which we want to do and are already doing. It does make them very brittle in a way that Tough Love Arenas weren't. I changed Rosie's like dash timing, and it broke like 2 of Meep's trials, like 2 days before the playtest, when I was improving everyone's wave dash. Although I think that was actually a bug and then I fixed it, so maybe we didn't break the combo trial. But the point still stands. It does make them very brittle, and so I have to think a bit more strategically about like how often it makes sense to try and refresh these things, because it's not a zero amount of time. But I'm very grateful to have Meep helping out there, as opposed to the first round that was like a combo of me and Clem. The Rice minigame is evil. I forget which minigame is which. Which one was the Rice one? Rice's story is about buying socks. Oh, the lemon's falling down. That one, yeah, that's probably the hardest one. I remember I started playing it and I was like, Clem, I think you can make this a little bit harder, and then I like very quickly died. Have fun unlocking that boss. So to wrap up, that concludes our State of the Game stream. Thank you to everyone who stopped by to chat. Clap. State of the Game is now over. We'll be moving off recording to just briefly cover the survey results. Someday maybe we'll record those and upload those, but for now they are a special treat for those of you who watch live. So that's for the other game. For now, thank you so much. Again, immense thank you to everyone who made arcade mode possible. We're going to be patching in a sort of like visual novel mode pretty soon, so that you can just like play through the story and dialogue without having to actually complete the matches if you just want to see the story. And Amy is excited to try it. I am excited to see their reaction to the interesting characterization choices that Clem made with Amy's babies. So yeah, it's been a very, very long journey, but we're very close to the end, and we've got very promising beginnings of the other game. And I thank you all for being along for the ride. So until next month, I was Paul. Goodbye.